Hello everyone! For any of you who don't know, my name is Katrina Lambert, and I published my first novel, A Journey for Faith, in January of this year. And I'm here today to do a Q&A to share more about the novel and the publishing process and to answer you all's questions. So the first question that I received is your book, A Journey for Faith, good for any age readers, and is there any parts that wouldn't be appropriate for younger readers? The official genre for my novel is a Christian romance novel, and although it is a romance novel, it is definitely very family friendly, very PG, if you will. And yeah, it's really good for any age readers. My target audience would probably be young women, teenage to young adults, but really it's a book that anybody can enjoy, and I think anybody can be impacted and really get something out of it. So the next question that I received is, what made you decide to self-publish? And that's actually a really good question, because that was a really big debate for me, trying to decide if I wanted to go the self-publishing route or if I wanted to try to go through a publishing house. I know a lot of publishing houses won't take the chance on a first-time author like myself, but the idea marketing and advertising has definitely never been my strong suit. So the idea of being fully responsible for all that with self-publishing was rather intimidating. So I actually ended up publishing my novel through Fulton Books, which is a publishing house based out of Pennsylvania, and that was just a really good process. They were really easy to work with, really good communication. It was a really good experience, and honestly, I was really surprised how easily I was able to get connected with that publishing house. So that was a really good experience working with Fulton Books. The next question that I received is, where did I get the idea for my cover art? As you can see here, it is the mother-daughter relationship really depicted, and I think that was one of the things that I really wanted to portray, being the plot and the contents of this book, as I really wanted to portray the bond between a mother and her daughter, which when you read it you'll really see where that runs strongly throughout the novel. But yeah, the cover was actually done by a professional cover artist, and so I kind of gave her some of my critiques and my suggestions of what I kind of envisioned for the cover, and she gave me some ideas of picture options. And so of the options that she sent, this one was the one that just really seemed the most befitting at the time. And now seeing it on the completed novel, it's like exactly what I envisioned. I honestly couldn't have picked a better cover if I had 100% done it myself. So the next question I got is, what did you find the most difficult about the creative process of writing, and how did you overcome it? And that would definitely be taking the time to really commit to sit down and writing. It's really easy for me to put it off and to make every excuse under the sun to not really just sit down and have concentrated writing time. So that was and it remains one of my biggest struggles. But it really is just a process. I don't think that there's like one key way I've overcome that over the time. It's just been daily choosing to make it a priority and making myself make it happen, really. So the next question is, if I were to give advice to someone who wanted to try writing, where should they start? Well, as far as the whole writing process goes, as far as beyond getting started, I would definitely say keeping at it. There were many times throughout this whole process that I thought I would never see a completed book in conclusion, but here I am now, and I have my book, and it is officially a book, and just the feeling of accomplishment upon receiving my books and seeing this book with my name on it and the cover and everything just in a completed project is just so satisfying and so fulfilling, and it's such a gift, really. So definitely keep at it, and when you just don't see the end in sight and you think it's never gonna get anywhere, keep at it, because it's all going to be worth it. When you have your book and you're a published author, it is all going to be worth it. But as far as getting started, I think it's really just letting your creativity, letting your imagination just kind of be free to just do what it's going to do. I think it really takes a special mind to just look at the world and see all the potential for really great writing pieces all around you if you just slow down and just take the time to really look at life. So it kind of sounds cliche, I guess, but just being still and just taking in the world around you, and yeah. That might not be like the clearest advice, but I really think it's important to try to slow down and just look at the world for the potential it has, and just an amazing impact and potential that has for some really great writing pieces. So the next question that I received is, what was something that caught you by surprise with publishing that you wish you had known from the beginning? Well, I somewhat covered this earlier, but to kind of go back to that, I was really surprised how easily I was able to make a connection with a publishing house. When I first reached out to publishing houses, I actually got 2 or 3 responses pretty much right off the bat, and they were all interested in publishing. So I dreaded the idea of really getting into the publishing stage of things, because I had just convinced myself that no publishing house was going to take the chance on a first-time author like myself, and I just was really intimidated by the idea of self-publishing. So definitely the biggest surprise was how easily I was able to make a connection with a publishing house, and how interested and genuinely interested they were in publishing my novel. So the next question that I received is, do you have a favorite method or system you use for writing? Not specifically. I guess there are some kind of specific steps I take, or kind of creative processes I have. I would guess the most specific process that I would take to create, especially a bigger project like a novel, would be kind of creating you need to start with a plot. So you start with your basic plot line, like what is this novel going to be about? And from there, you kind of work to get it into sequential order, make it into a project that flows, and after you have a plot line that kind of flows, then you go back and you really personify your characters, you really go into depth, you really give them personality traits and characteristics. And so I guess just starting with kind of like the meat of a book, of a project, and then kind of flavoring it up from there would kind of be the closest thing I would say I would have to a specific writing process. The next question that I received is, what was the most challenging part of publishing and how did I overcome it? There again, as I said earlier, it's definitely the marketing and the advertising. I love writing, I love the creative process of writing, and I love reading, but I'm definitely not a marketing person, and I'm definitely not an advertiser. So even just knowing what avenues to look into, where to make the right connections, and even so yeah, definitely marketing and advertising, even just knowing how to best get it out there, how to make it known. Because I mean, I can do what I can, but if people don't know about it, then it doesn't actually make a successfully selling novel. So yeah, that's something I haven't specifically overcome or figured out how to overcome. It's just a day-to-day process still. So the next question I received is, how much were you expected to change your manuscript to suit the publisher's needs, and was that difficult for you? I mean, yeah, sure, there were challenges. This book was kind of like my baby, and this whole process of bringing it into a completed project, it's definitely very personal to me, very, yeah. So having anybody tell you to change it or to make adjustments is difficult, but the editor that I worked with was just really good at communicating and really good at sharing her perspective and why she made the suggestion she did. It wasn't just a blanket, like, this is bad, we don't want this. She was very negotiable, very easy to work with. So that definitely made a huge difference as far as feeling like we could be in communication and really be working together. She could use her knowledge and her experience, and I could use, my heart and my specific purpose behind writing certain parts, and we could kind of meet in the middle. So I think it was about as workable and easy as something like that can be. So the next question that I received is, what in writing brings you the most joy? And what's the happiest part of the writing, of the creative process for you? Well, obviously there are many things that bring me joy. This is why I'm pursuing this career. But one of the parts that I would say probably brings me the most joy is seeing the characters come to life. The process of taking a name and a few basic characteristics of an imaginary character that you've created, and then really bringing them to life with the words they say and their specific personality and their specific characteristics that are unique to them is just really fun to me. And it's really fun to see them like as a real person, because one of the things that I have definitely had is one of my biggest goals as a writer is to make characters that are just really relatable, really personal, and just people that my readers can really connect with. So the process of making these characters people that I feel my readers can connect with and are just really real, that's such a fun process to me. And the other thing that I would say is probably the times that bring me the most joy and satisfaction as a writer is when the words just seem to flow out. There are times when I sit down and I'm just like, okay, I have to write, I have to do this, and I just really have to make myself write. And then there are other times when I just sit down and the words just flow, and I just know it's not coming from me. It's like God has anointed me and he's just flowing through me through my hands. And moments like that are just the most fulfilling, because I feel like the words that come out in those moments are the most powerful and impactful. And it's moments like that that really make me feel like God has called me to be a writer, and that God has gifted me to be a writer. Because when it's not coming from me and it's just him flowing through me, it's such a reminder that he's gonna have his way with it. And just, it's really humbling to be able to be used by him in that way. So the last question that I have is, would I publish a book again? And that is actually a really good question, because absolutely. This is definitely something that I would love to get to the point where it's my main career, and it's something that I spend most of my time doing. I would definitely love to get to the point where it becomes my main focus. And actually, on that note, I'm actually in the process of writing the sequel to this book, and it's going to be titled A Journey for Love. So it's kind of in the early stages right now, but for any of you who have read A Journey for Faith, all of the characters that are children in A Journey for Faith are going to be young adults in the sequel, A Journey for Love. So it's going to be really fun to depict these characters as they're maturing and becoming young adults, and then especially for my readers to be able to kind of follow along their journey and to see them later on and to see who they become and to experience life with them. I'm really excited for that process. Like I said, it's in the early stages right now, but definitely keep your eye out, because I'm definitely going to keep you guys updated and share how the process is going, and it's definitely in the works. So that is all of the questions that I received. I just want to thank you guys so much for sending your questions, for reaching out, for supporting me on a day-to-day basis. I wouldn't be where I am today without all of you all's prayers and encouraging thoughts and support. And this book, I mean, you all get a part of the credit for bringing it to where it's at, because it definitely didn't come from me by myself. So I just want to thank you all again, and have a blessed weekend.